It ain't nothing else but the coffee. So now it's Trump and it's Sanders, and uh, it's a contrast between the established wealthy and the socialist uh, entity. Okay, now the socialist entity wants to tax the established wealthy to death to pay for luxury schools till they're 25 and universal health care. The established money over here wants to keep everything the way it is, maintain insurances, maintain property taxes, maintain everything just the way it is. Along with this guy, he's not going to take away taxes, and this guy's not going to take away taxes. But this guy over here is established and bought into the status quo. He probably has a lot of stock in insurance companies, private insurance companies. Now, private insurance companies are the problem. Paying a ransom to a third party that's not the government for securities in your daily commerce is the problem. The towns and the county administrators voting themselves access to your personal possessions, circumventing your security in your personal possessions that are guaranteed under the Constitution, is the problem. Not the federal regulations on small businesses and communities. It's the small communities voting themselves regulations and fees to and mandating insurances to operate small businesses. Okay, I have a plan where the wealthy don't get taxed to death, and we accommodate these necessity of the utilities for civil commerce, such as a progressive liberty system that rearranges the school facility accommodations just a little bit, and all that stuff's taken care of like Bernie wants, and Trump gets to keep his money without being taxed to death personally. Now, in order to make the proper appropriations, we need my system. The one safe trade, transit, insurance, commerce, sales tax, appropriation, accountability, infrastructure, investment, prepaid incentive system to incentivize medical innovations for our health and to maintain the utilities of civil commerce. And I hope, in addition to having all them things handled, focusing our collective on exploration, because we are in such a great time that these projects need to be fully funded, and we need full participation. I mean, I might not have to go out here and do the new job, but I will fund it through taxation, so I am a participant and a healthy citizen in my community for myself, because I want that ride. We don't have to go to Mars. We got infinity space around the moon and around the Earth, which the Earth, I don't know why we got all this junk floating around the Earth and nothing's hardly around the moon. Seems like the moon's gravitational pull seems how it's going away, and it's a stable fixture is the platform for the innovation of our day and age. We don't have to go anywhere, but we do need to start terraforming these places. And, we could do a lot if we come together as a collective, but we got to do it greenly. We can't have all these rockets. These rockets are not the way to get to space. I mean, they have not made them efficient enough. Of course, they can make them their byproduct other than heat habitat proactive. The heat is the only thing that they have not got covered. Anyhow, the contrast is between Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, and I don't hear any of them talking about insurance corruption, which is established for 200 years, and I don't hear either of them talking about coming together in a movement. Forget all the skirmishes in the world other than normal policing, which that's what we need in the world. We need normal policing. We don't need to let it brood up to what it is now. We got to work together for the common good. We got to incentivize people to work together. That means we have to have luxury, but the luxury has to be obtainable by the average working person. I work my butt off. If somebody hadn't helped me out, I'd be on the street. Okay? We need to fix that. And we're not going to fix that with them two established doctorates running the country on down the road. Paul Ryan has disappointed me. I thought he was going to have a proactive, willing to enunciate his, or willing to compromise, because none of them are doing any of the good stuff that needs to be done. When all that argument about the gay marriage was going on, create a civil union that is not sex-based, that we can join into to accommodate your crooked tax system. That's something I suggested. I would like to be able to have multiple wives. Alright? So create a civil union that's separate from marriage, because marriage defines a man and a woman joining matrimony. Civil union accommodates my goals of a harem and everything else, and everybody else, as long as it's not a sexually based contract, which it shouldn't be. That would have been circumvented. That had been gone. That wouldn't even been a concept. We definitely wouldn't be having this discussion about bathrooms. It is not discriminatory to direct you to your anatomical relief station. Alright. Personal identity and discrimination has been made against people who had to meet a certain criteria to enter into the union of marriage. They met a certain criteria by the state. That means they have procreated. And that can only be done by heterosexual beings. Because we are a heterosexual species. Procreation is how we breed, and it is how we consummate marriage. You can't do that without a penis and a vagina meeting. That's the only way to have a procreation. Alright. Now I'm saying all this because right now the race is between Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and Trump. And I see Hillary Clinton as being the old established, and they need a new face on the Democratic Party. Apparently Trump's the new face of the Republican Party, which with Ted Cruz dropping out, then people weren't voting for Ted Cruz. They were voting against Donald Trump. And I see them swinging back to the Democratic side. Okay? Because that's why it didn't happen in New England, mainly New York. Because they couldn't switch their affiliation. And that took the wind out of Cruz's sails. Or thug rules. But anyhow, I want to be the President of the United States. just so I can implement the One Safe Trade, Transit, Insurance, Commerce, Sales Tax, Appropriation, Accountability, Infrastructure, Investment, Incentive, Prepaid System. Well, the end of that kind of gets changed around a little bit. And reschedule the facility that facilitates our elementary education, incorporate their hours from 8 to 8 on, and a lot of technical stuff. I've said it in other videos, so I'm not going to go into it, and it can be challenged. I'd love to have a decent, intelligent conversation with anybody, but every representative that is a representative I've asked to engage me has declined. So, you know, I can go out here and make a public little statement, but I am not the most inclusive individual in tight spots with a lot of people, and it's just not atmosphere I was accustomed to. A concert, if they give me some room, I mean, I could get into it, I'm sure. But I got to be sure I'm making some headway because I'm kind of burnt out on that. All this comes from a reaction of aggression from a daycare and a social worker system that scared the piss out of me 4 years ago. Well, 3.5 years ago. 4.5 years ago. Okay. And the Safe Trade, Transit, Insurance, Commerce, Sales Tax, Appropriation, Accountability, Infrastructure, Investment, Incentive System allows us to make the proper adjustments for accountability starting at 15, going through adulthood. Options of retirement early in exchange for light teaching duties. You should not be a social worker or a teacher unless you hit at least a threshold of 30. At least 26 at the minimum. I don't know, that's too young. No, 30 and above. I mean, I'd raise it all the way up to 35 if I could. Anyhow, I'm making this video because I don't really want to make these videos. I don't want to be redundantly talking up there and changing my stance because I get attacked, which I'm not going to do because my stance is a system, not a party doctorate. I'm not going to say, I can't say I'm conservative, and I can't say I'm liberally progressive. You know, stay to yourself on the liberal progressive lifestyles, and the conservative stuff needs to give way and allow people to come up with common civil living arrangements that is not dictated by a doctrine of a government. And we need to reinforce the individual citizens with the Reinforce the Individual Citizens Constitutional Rights Act, or one Reinforced Citizens Act or something, Individual Citizens Liberty Act, something, and progressively preserve the town, the county, and the state and the federal government system by broadening their services to accommodate our hours. There's no reason for their web page to shut down on the weekend. There's no need for them to close up at 5 o'clock when we're just getting off work. They need to stay open 8 to 8. Accommodate us. And it got us waking up at crack of dawn for nothing. Before the rooster crows, they want us to get up. That makes your cognitive energies less and makes you more docile in your activities, and it's not healthy. I used to get up 7 o'clock. Now I gotta get up 5, 6 o'clock just to get the kids ready for school. I'm glad I never went to y'all's school. in one fashion. In another fashion, I know I missed out on the atmosphere of the United States masses. Except for at times, which were good times. I mean, I love getting together and doing a function. But not this drooling stuff I seen at the Build Fest in Watauga County High School. I'm like, gosh, we might have got a little arena. They didn't have no basketball competition. And I seen the Army Reserves somewhere else in the country doing awesome. You got to give these tools to these kids because they are ready for it. I remember when I was young, I was ready for it, but they wouldn't let me at it. And when I got at it, they'd divert me to some other kind of activity I wasn't on. So, I don't like being held back. I've been held back a lot. YouTube, social media can't hold you back. They can block you from Facebook pages like my representatives in North Carolina have, Fox and Jordan. But you can always change your identity.